Today I'm headed to the East Fork Cemetery in East Fork, Mississippi to see the gravesite of Harold Gerald Clower, better known as the country comedian Jerry Clower. And as we get close to the cemetery, there appears to be a funeral going on, so we'll just have to drive a little bit and then come back to it. Well, we went a little ways down and waited a little while and drove around a little bit and came back again toward the cemetery, and there appears to still be some cars there. So we've decided we'll drive around a little while longer before coming back to the cemetery because we don't want to, interrupt anybody's funeral. While riding around, we saw this old fire truck, and it reminded us of the Jerry Clower story that he told that was called Burning Building. And as we kept going up and down the road, and we came close to a stop sign past this building, a lady saw us and got out and asked us where we lost or could, help us find something. And we told her we were just waiting for the funeral to go by, that we were going to be going back to the cemetery for Jerry Clower's gravesite. And she said that she knew the family well, and that his daughter still lived in the Jerry Clower's house that he built in 1988. And she said that she wished she had more time, but she had a meeting or a appointment she had to go to, and so we could just follow her. And she said that Jerry Clower's son-in-law would probably be at the house because he was disabled, and that he would get out and maybe talk to us if he saw her car drive up, as he knew her real well. So she was very polite about it, so we decided to follow her. And here we are going down the road, and as you can see, it's a rural area. It's not a whole lot of people, or houses I should say, in this area. To be truthful, I looked it up for making this video, and it's only about 12,000 people, I think it said, in the whole county. As you can see, we've made a turn and going down another little road here, so it's way back off the road, and this looks like it may be the entranceway because there's a nice gate with a C on it, which I think would stand for Clower. So we're going to keep on following her. While we were following this lady, I thought maybe we have a little ways more to go through this area here, and that I would mention that Jerry Clower became a member of the Grand Ole Opry in 1973 and performed there regularly up until his death. And we're passing a mailbox, so maybe we're getting close, and then there is a sign that says museum there, so maybe I'll get a chance to see that too. And as we're making the round here, we come up on the house. This was the house that Jerry Clower called home from 1988 until his death. And here is an outside view of it, and his son-in-law did come out, but he didn't want to be videoed, but was willing to talk to us. Next, followed Jerry's son-in-law up to this sign, and it's a memorial to Jerry Clower. And you may want to pause it so you can read it all, but I'm just going to give you a brief talk of a couple of things that's on this sign. The front of the sign is just telling you basically that he used it as his comic stories as a sales tool when he worked as a fertilizer salesman, which led to live shows, recordings, and such. Now we'll take a look at the back side, and the sun is really reflecting badly on it, but hopefully you can pause it and maybe read it. But I'll tell you the main things that it says on the back of this sign. It says that Jerry didn't aspire to be a show business career person, but to be an agricultural extension agent working with 4-H clubs. He served in the Navy during World War II. He worked his way through Mississippi State on a football scholarship, and he received a degree in agriculture. He became the 4-H extension agent he'd wanted to be. Then he sold fertilizer for the Mississippi Chemical Corporation for 18 years. At one of these conventions, a radio director was there recording all the information and things that was said, and he would send a copy of Jerry's to MCA Records, and the rest became history. Now, just across from this sign is this house that you're looking at. We was lucky to get to see this house up close. Jerry's son-in-law let us go over and do a little bit of videoing, as this house is going to be demolished shortly. They're waiting to get a permit to do that. And the reason it's important is that's where Jerry's wife, Homerling, grew up at as a child. And right across the road was where the Clower family grew up at, but the home place there is no longer standing, he said. But he let us go back down to see where the museum used to be. He said it no longer exists as a museum, that he uses it as a woodwork shop. And I asked him where the all the exhibits that were in the museum has went to. And he said they have donated them, and they now are at Mississippi State. And I think that would make Jerry Clower very happy to know where they're at. We're going to take just a short look at the outside of what the museum looked like, as we've been with Jerry's son-in-law quite a while now, before we head over to the cemetery. But I just want to make a few remarks of things that has been credited to Jerry saying. And one of them is that he said anything that he played could be played in church without having to cover the kids' ears. And another thing that he said is it's not things that creative minds just sit down and write. The only ability I have is the talent to remember them and the talent to tell it and embellish it just a little bit at times. And another quote that is given credit to Jerry is that he said that after working for the Mississippi Chemical Company selling fertilizer to farmers, that he was just working now as a comedian with promoting just a different kind of fertilizer. Give you a look at the back part of the house as we get ready to head to the cemetery. And on our way to the cemetery, we thought this was a very appropriate place to take a look at, as Jerry Clower was a deacon here at the East Fork Baptist Church, and this is also where his funeral was held. As we head to the cemetery, it's hard to think of Jerry Clower without thinking of all the stories he told about Uncle Versi and Aunt Pet Ledbetter. And they were real people. He just gave them fictional names. And they had 11 children, and he just called them off when he was talking about them so smoothly. And they were Ardale, Burnell, Vernell, Raynell, W.L., Lunnell, Odale, Udale, Marcel, Claude, Eugene, and Clovis. And so let's head on down with that thought and head toward Jerry's grave. And I wonder if I'm passing any of those characters, since I don't know their real names. But Jerry's son-in-law did tell us that one of the people of supposedly of the 11 children came up to him a few years back and did tell him that that's who he was, which character he was of Uncle Versi and Aunt Pet's children. So they did exist. It's just we have no idea which ones, if any of them, are buried here. But I do remember Jerry talking about Marcel Ledbetter as being his best friend, and they even joined the Navy at the same time. So we'll head on down to the markers, and they're almost in the wooded area, and we had already saw information about that before we came to the cemetery, so it wasn't very hard to find. Plus, the cemetery isn't just really, really huge, but it is a good-sized cemetery. As we get farther down in this cemetery there, I noticed that the one in the middle there says Clower on it, that has the flag by it, and then there's one on the end there also says Clower. But since Jerry's in the Navy, I'm thinking the one with the flag may be Jerry's marker, so we'll take a closer look at that. As we go around to read the writing on the front sides of these markers here, I can't imagine not mentioning at least a few of Jerry Clower's stories that he told that stuck out in my mind. Of course, I've already mentioned the burning building, but the clumsy mule sitting up with the dead, the trucker and the lady, and a coon hunting story. These are all just wonderful stories that Jerry Clower would tell. And here, I guess you would call this his footstone, is the marker that is from a military marker, and it lets you know that Jerry was in the Navy during World War II. Well, we'll take a look now at the headstone, and it may be a little hard to read with the way the sun is on it today, but I'll get up closer and maybe it'll be easier to read. And as you can see, Jerry's grave marker has R.C. Cola on it, and I don't know if that was a story that he had about R.C. Colas, which it may have been, but I don't remember one if he did. And it may be just that that was his favorite drink that he liked. Jerry Clower would pass away at the age of 71, just 1 month short of being 72, from a few days after having bypass heart surgery. And next to him is his wife, Homerline Wells Clower. And I believe Jerry and Homerline were married for over 50 years when he passed away. Now I'm going to move on down to the end of the row, which starts family members of Jerry Clowers. The first one down at the very end is that of Raymore Clower, which was Jerry's son, and he would pass away at the age of 58. And then next to Ray is the marker of Ray's son, Wesley Burns Clower, which was Jerry's grandson. As you can see from Wesley's marker, he was just 22 years old when he passed away. And of course, we're back to his grandmother's grave, which was Homerline, and Jerry's grave. And then we'll move on down to see who is on the other side of those. Next to Jerry's grave is the marker for his mother and stepfather, and that is of Jacqueline Burns Moore and Ray Elliott Moore. As you can see from the marker, Jerry's mother was 83 years of age when she passed away. And what I believe to be the last family member in this row, buried next to Jerry's mother, is that of her sister, and that is Nancy R. Wilhelmi, I guess is how you'd say her last name. It looks like she may have been 87 when she passed away, and that would make her Jerry's aunt. Now we're going to take a look one row back from these family members to see the grave of William E. Clower, and it's got in the parentheses there, Sonny, and this was Jerry's brother, and from the front and the back there's showing that he retired as a lieutenant commander from the Navy, and he served during World War II. We're going to take one more look at Jerry Clower's marker as I make a couple of more statements on it. Jerry had the nickname the Mouth of Mississippi, and if you've heard any of his stories, they got really loud at times and all, but you can always remember hearing him say, "Shoot this thing." Thanks for watching. Have a good day.